Everyone knows you can't beat the comfort of a pair of Crocs. But style doesn't get talked about enough. The edgy look and feel of the Echo Clog will bring your streetwear game to the next level. Plus, there are tons of new and exciting colors that'll match the look you're going for. It's time to bring the heat and build your look with Crocs Echo Clog. Shop the Echo Clog collection on crocs.com.
What's up, coffee and hardcore listeners? What's up? I'm Wiley Willis, coming to you from Chicago, Illinois, with my trusty co-host
Mick Cox from Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Yeah. Welcome to Coffee and Hardcore, Season 2, Episode 5. I know I always say this, but I'm surprised we're here. This episode is titled BOO-YAH! Don't Go There. Coffee and Hardcore is all that and a bag of chips.
That's right. And you were just not just to the long intro there, but you also were privy to the brand new Coffee and Hardcore theme song, intro, outro. It's by Skullcrack, and it has crazy awesome lyrics. Check it out. All right, here we goes. Here's the Coffee and Hardcore theme. Blah. Hanging out with Wiley and Mick. Coffee and Hardcore, lay it on thick. Coffee, hardcore, coffee. It's Coffee and Hardcore. Wiley's from Chicago. Mick was in Zayo. Beans and tunes, that's what they know. What's new in the scene on caffeine? Coffee and Hardcore, you know what I mean. Coffee, hardcore, coffee. It's Coffee and Hardcore. Then Fresh Pots from Dave Grohl.
Fresh Pots! It's taken from the Dave Grohl YouTube video.
Fresh Pots!
I have to say that is a badass theme song.
Yeah.
We will be keeping the Battle Royale Coffee and Hardcore theme as the outro to every podcast, except for this episode. We have a special outro song on this episode only. But thank you, Skullcrack, so much for this new theme. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's totally rad.
Speaking of new songs, for those who know me, know that Descendants is my all-time favorite band ever. Good news from the Descendants camp. Sort of new music from them coming July 23rd, 2021 of this year. And what I say by sort of new, it's 18 old songs performed by the original Milo Goes to College lineup. All the old Descendants songs before Milo sang on the Descendants, re-recorded by the original lineup in 2002 before Frank died in 2008. The project was put on hold because of the lockdown, and Milo finished his vocals on these older songs created before he was actually even in the band, dating to like the late 70s and the early 80s. And then they were re-recorded in 2002. Like I said, Frank passed. Milo, during the lockdown, found time to put his vocals in all these songs, and I am pretty stoked. I also posted a photo of our dog Nan in a Milo blanket on the Coffee and Hardcore story on Instagram, and the Descendants shared it in their stories. I seriously about fainted. Anyways, the Descendants released a single. Let's drop it. It's called Baby Don't You Know by the Descendants. Boom!
And so also in this episode, my wife comes on and she does the coffee review for us. And we're super excited about that. It's short, it's sweet, it's got the Mothman in it, it's got bridge history in it. Boom. It's good stuff.
We did kind of get a bridge history lesson. I liked
it.
We also have Ruben on the show, who fronts the bands Through and Through and C. Dios Quiere here in Chicago. He's in Little Village in Chicago. We had a really good chat with him. I wanted to get more in depth with him about the police subject, but during the conversation, I realized it really wasn't about what I thought. And instead of making it about my point of view and what I thought, I just thought it was truly important to hear Ruben's side of everything and hear what he has to say and how he thinks. I don't always agree with everybody on everything, and I tried to play the devil's advocate a few times to get him to get a little deeper and so I could get a little bit in-depth look at his views. But it's always a treat talking to Ruben, and Ruben and I go back, and he's a good friend.
Yeah, man, that was an awesome conversation. And then we also have all our killer album reviews for this episode. So stay tuned because we have a great show for everybody. And thanks for listening to the podcast. Let's get into it.
Boom!
It's time!
What's up? It's album review time. We got Mick's picks. What band did you pick first, Mick?
I'm going to start with this band first. I'm going to start with the band Fuse.
Yeah, album is titled
This Segregation Will End.
When was it released?
It was released in 2020. I do not know the month.
April.
April. Okay, April.
How many
2020.
tracks?
I don't know how many tracks. It's a full,
9 tracks.
Yeah, it's almost a full LP, right?
Yeah, 9 tracks.
Anything over 8's a full LP, right?
Sure.
Sure. Why not?
I thought it was over a half hour.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I don't know.
It's over half. Okay.
Because
Yeah,
what if you had 8 tracks that were a minute long?
that's true. And then, yeah,
Then it'd be 8 minutes.
then it'd be 8 minutes.
Then it would technically be an EP, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's got to be over a half hour. But this band is from Southeast Asia. They're actually from Singapore. They call themselves, they're part of the Lion City hardcore crew. But I had never heard of them before, and actually came across an interview that they did. It's pretty much almost an all-girl band, except for they have a guy drummer sometimes. But they basically was a group of girls who, and I call them girls because they're younger. They're not even in their 20s yet.
Oh,
What I understand.
teenagers.
Yeah, they're teenagers.
Wow, they're teenagers?
Yes, which makes it even crazier, right? The guitar is insane.
Yeah, so good.
But, kind of like based off a conversation that we had with Ruben about just basically empowering women and allowing them to be a part of the scene and a voice and all of that, like basically share their voice. That's kind of how that band started. Like they started like looking into the whole Riot Girl movement from the late 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. And basically just was passionate about it. And like from where they're from in Southeast Asia, there wasn't a whole lot of equality there. And so they come out as a band and start singing about these things and start talking about these things and start pushing these things. And, like I said, they're teenagers and the lyrics are powerful, but man, the guitar and the bass is nuts. And when you know how young they are, you're like, what? And it's not the most polished album.
That's what makes it great.
Yes, exactly. That's what makes it great. I mean, there's a couple songs I'm like, it's full on like that thrash drum beat and then the guitars and all that. Oh, it's so good. I really dig the song Deceit. Like that song's my jam.
Let's drop it.
Let's drop it right now. Here we go. So what'd you think?
Dude, I absolutely love this band. I've never heard of this band before. So again, when you send me stuff that I've never heard of and I like it, it's a treat. And I really, really love these songs. So it's 9 songs and it leaves me wanting more, which I know sometimes we say, sorry, I heard I echoed on you. Am I echoing?
No, not now.
Okay, cool. Sometimes with hardcore bands, 8, 9, 10 songs, you and I both go, they could have done like 6 and it would have been great.
Right.
But this album, 9 tracks, and it doesn't seem like it's 9 tracks. It seems like it goes by really quick, and I want more.
Yeah.
It's really good. The vocals are super rad. The tone of the vocalist is perfect for this music. High energy and passionate yelling. I dig, and I know you do too, but I dig the rattling bass tone.
Yes.
Hard-hitting drums for the win also. I'm a sucker for hard-hitting drums. This is some great hardcore, some really well put together and thought out hardcore. I absolutely love how the track Deadlock starts. The drum roll. Yeah. Like that really powerful drum roll into that blistering guitar part. Pure hardcore bliss.
Yes.
Plus I get a nice bleh from the vocalist. So let's drop my favorite track, Deadlock, now. Welcome back.
Yeah. One more thing about that band before we go, so we move on to my second pick, is I love finding stuff that is not around me. And so when I first heard that, I was like, man, this is so good. And then when I looked into them and, from that interview and then seeing more like where they're from, it's just crazy because you get to hear their perspective. Like it's from a whole other country, the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Their perspective. So it's just, I don't know.
Really cool. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So my second pick is Tuning.
Say that again.
Tuning. Cool. Is that right? I think it's Tuning.
That's right. You bleeped on my end like it like cut out.
But the album is Defining the Purpose from Oakland, California. And
when did it come out?
I know it came out last year. I don't know what the month is.
August 2020. My OCD has to tell people. How many tracks you got there, Mick?
See, I don't pay attention to how many tracks.
8 tracks.
8 tracks. All right. It's a full LP because it's longer than a half hour, right?
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay.
But how I found this band was from the band that we reviewed a while back, Discourage.
Yeah.
Matt from Discourage is in this band as well, and I did not know that. And I guess and Tuning's been around a lot longer, but I had never heard them before. This is the first album that I've heard by them, and man, the whole sound of this album just brought back feelings of like comeback Comeback Kid, the Wake the Dead album, smacking in with maybe some Stretch Armstrong.
That's a great record.
And and then even, there's a couple times on a couple songs that even, reminded me of, an old band that I think was on New Age, Mean Season, which just loved that band. There was just it was just the passion and the feeling in the vocals. It's just got that, I don't know, that kind of that Comeback Kid kind of like singy, yelly kind of thing going on. But super just, it's just whereas Fuse was this one, like, style of hardcore, this is just this, to me, it just brought back the 90s kind of feel that's, like Comeback Kid and even Stretch Armstrong.
It mixes stuff.
Yeah. And
I have that in my notes too, yeah.
The guitar riffs on this album are it's just, sometimes I'm like, I would have never thought to have done that. It's just very inspiring to me. I hear it, I'm like, oh man, I would have never thought to put a riff that sounded like that here. And then boom, it just goes into something else.
It's kind of like that one record in a way that you sent that you said sounds like Soundgarden. I was like, pass.
Right.
But then I loved it. What record was that again?
That
So it was.
Got it. It was Mind's Eye.
Mind's Eye, True Blue.
True Blue. That was it. Yes.
Okay, so Mind's Eye, True Blue.
Right. Kind of had that same kind of feel.
Yeah, because it was different. It didn't just take hardcore riffs; it took other riffs.
Right. Yeah. So I really dug it. I loved the first song, the Quiet Hero song. I thought that was just a great intro to the album to kind of pull you in. Like it sucked. Like as soon as it kicked in, I was like, I'm in. I'm gonna listen to the whole thing, the whole album.
Drop it.
Here it comes.
Drop it.
Boom. All right, we're back.
We are back. Talking about tuning.
Yeah.
So this set of 8 songs gives me a good hardcore melodic ride into nostalgia, also delivering a new, fresh sound. So like you kind of talked about, they mix it up. They mix it well. At times, you're going to think this is crazy, but I just have to say it because this is how I feel. Right. At times, I get a Deftones.
Yeah.
It's like old AFI, like Black Sails in the Sunset AFI.
Yep.
It's like AFI mixed with hardcore. I hear a Gorilla Biscuits influence there as well. I dig it. My track is Bitter Wind.
Ooh.
And again, with a great drum roll, into a killer guitar slide. And I'm a sucker for that. I also really like the last track, The Lost War, a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd say my pick is Bitter Wind, the second track on the 8-song album. So you picked the first one, I picked the second one. Nice. Drop it now.
Boom. right, so now it's your turn. Drop your two picks.
It's my turn.
It's your turn.
So this band is Change. Album Closer Still, released September 2020, 13 tracks, okay? And I think Mick will agree with all of this. I picked this because it's probably one of the best hardcore releases of 2020 that got overlooked by us.
Yeah.
Not overlooked by us personally, but by the podcast.
Yeah.
It slipped through the cracks. Probably because we both loved the album and bought it, and we just figured we already reviewed it because we both loved it so much.
That's true.
There's like no bad tracks on this album. All the songs are 100% kick you in the face, kick ass. 5 cups of coffee, hardcore approved. To me, it's vegan, straight edge hardcore at its very best. Hard to beat. Old school hardcore vibes with a newer, fresh take.
Yeah.
Bass tone, again, is a bass player's dream.
Yes.
I think even you, Mick, are inspired by this sound. And I think we talked about you using that as an inspiration for the new Redline stuff. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes. And we were saying maybe a little dirtier for Redline.
Yes, a little dirtier.
A little rattlier and dirtier. But I think when we were like, what's a good bass tone? And you were like, have you heard this band Change? And I'm like, yes.
Yep.
I'm like, that would be a great bass tone for Redline. Anyway, this album is a breath of fresh air. I like every single track. You could drop the whole album for all I care.
Right.
As my favorite song. But for real, let's drop Reason to give people a taste of that thick killer bass tone. And that's the one you picked too, isn't it?
It was, yeah.
Drop it now. Boom.
Boom.
All right, we're back. Mick,
Listen.
I stole your song.
Listen, I wrote this down in my notes. Dear God, the bass is so insane in this song. It is like the end of the Rambo movie when Rambo is up on the car and he's got the big 50 cal and he's going. That's what yes, this bass line is so intense.
So
that's what it reminds me. I've called, I think Discouraged, I said their bass tone was Godzilla attacking Tokyo. This band, their bass tone is like Rambo just wiping out everybody. It's just nuts. Oh, I love it so much. I cannot say that there's one song that I went, why is that on there? Every single song, all 8 songs are insane.
8 songs.
13,
bro.
13, that's right. Sorry.
The last one is like kind of like the spoken word kind of.
Yeah. It's nuts. But I really dig the song Response too. That song's killer. I love it. But, since you took Reason, Response is probably the other track that I really dig on that album, which it's hard because I love the whole freaking thing.
Yeah, me too.
And it's so funny, because I think both of us at one point or another, we have brought up this band and we talked about them, and it's so funny that we overlooked them, because we were both so into them, that changed. And it's so cool. And even the cover artwork is awesome. It's different. It's weird.
Oh yeah, it's like a painting kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, but it's like
Yeah.
it reminds me of kind of like Drain.
Yeah. And then
like
it has
color wise.
and then the band logo is just like almost looks like graffiti.
Yeah, like
It's just
cartoon graffiti. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just real different.
like you'd see in like a '90s cartoon on the wall. On a
Yes.
wall, straight painted on a wall in the '90s cartoon. Like,
Yeah.
Hey Arnold.
Yes.
He'd be like walking by, or Rocko's Modern Life.
Right. Just,
All right, drop your track, bro. Sorry.
all right, I'm gonna drop Response right now.
Cool. We are back. I got another one, don't I?
You do. You've got another.
All right.
Yeah.
This band is Stuck Nerve. Album Rattle the Cage, released December 2020, 9 tracks. So I love how dirty and angry this album sounds.
Yes.
It's pissed off and hard hitting. The musicianship is actually pretty incredible. The guitar tone and melody is inspiring. I absolutely love the vocals and the gang vocals.
Yeah.
I love when the guitar, bass, and drums all go spastic, but together at the same time. Like that happens a lot in the record, and it's so cool. The bass tone on this is also great. This is like an awesome episode for great bass tone.
Yes, it is.
You're welcome. So my track that I really like on this is it's either Money Money or Dollar Signs. I don't know. I'm going to say Money Money or Dollars. So the funny thing about this is I sent you this, last month? You sent me yours last month.
Yeah.
Today, when we're about to do the review, Steven Scopa from Straight Edge for Christ posts up this band and this song. And he's like, check out this band. This is a killer song. And so I messaged him. I'm like, dude, we're reviewing this album. I picked this album. This is the song I picked for my song to drop. And he's like, that's where you're at, dude. Anyways, all right, let's drop Money Money Dollar.
Boom.
I look in your eyes and all I see are dollar signs. You went too far and now I'm drawing the line. You offer success with no sacrifice. I'll forever shortcuts but only at a price. DIY, you come on the wayside. You sold your soul, you sold your pride. Get away from me with your insincerity. You make fools dead but you ain't fooling me.
All
right. So here's what I think about this album.
Let's hear it.
It's snotty.
Oh, I like that word.
Snotty, like attitude-wise, snotty.
I like it, yeah.
Slaps you in the face. It's hyper. It's like the hyperactive kid in preschool that doesn't stop. Like, it doesn't stop. It keeps going and going. It doesn't stop. It doesn't shut up. It doesn't take. It doesn't. It's almost like it doesn't even, like, the whole album doesn't even breathe.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if they ever played this album live, like, do they ever take a break in between songs, or do they just go? Like, how in the world? It's nuts. And like you said, when the drum and the guitar and the bass all go spastic like that, it's like, what is happening? And it's not. It's done so well. It's like normally when that happens, it just becomes mud.
Falls apart. Yeah.
Yeah. This doesn't. It's tight.
Yeah.
And
it reminds me of the little kid, like you said, in preschool, who brings a shiv in his bag.
Right. It's like it's Damien.
Yeah.
Preschool. But yeah, I like the song that you dropped too. I like the song The Way It Is as well. That song's pretty killer. And let's talk about the artwork on this album too.
So good.
Yeah, like different. Like, what would you? So? Yeah, what would you say that is? Like, describe that.
It kind of reminds me of. Remember that band? Gosh, I'm really bad at going back and talking about band. The band that the guy that from Counterpoint is in, his other band.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of that.
Yeah. The way that
work.
Yeah.
Why can't we remember anything?
Because we're old. But it's done really well. It's like when I saw the album cover, I didn't think that's
that
what it would sound like. Yeah. I was kind of blown away. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's weird because it's got like that old school hardcore skinhead kind of vibe to it. But the music's like nasty and dirty in the best way.
Yes.
So yes. I see what you mean.
Yeah. Like,
what is the name of that band?
To me, the album artwork is awesome, but it's not snotty enough for.
No, yeah. Like it should have like a skunk sticking its tongue out or something. Some shit like that.
Yeah. So yeah, you did we drop the other track yet? I don't remember.
Let's double drop that track.
We'll double drop that track, and when I go in and edit it, I'll make it just one. How about that?
Double stuff that Oreo. Cool.
Time for the next level.
All right. Welcome, Ruben L. Garza Jr. to the Coffee and Hardcore podcast. Ruben is from Little Village here in Chicago, Illinois, and is the front man for Through and Through and one of my all-time favorite Chicago hardcore bands, C. Dios Quiere. We might disagree on some things, but that's okay. Staying civil and respectful is the most important. We come from different worlds in the same city, so it's important to share perspective and challenge each other's thinking. So let's get into it. Ruben, how are you doing? All politics aside, all the politics aside right now, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good, just hanging in there, surviving this pandemic. Been trying to keep busy with music. Si Dios Quiere has been my outlet throughout this whole pandemic. Has been where I've been expressing myself a lot more and doing a lot more, hardcore and punk rock with Si Dios Quiere. So it feels that's how it's been going. I've been doing some soul searching through that.
That's good. And you guys started in 2020 last year, right?
Yeah, we started around, I think Rick, the drummer Rick, and Chris were jamming together, and then Rick brought in his brother Rob to play guitar. I think they were jamming, I want to say like 2019. They were already like jamming and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I came into it around January 2020. That's where I came into it, like a few months before the pandemic.
Sure.
And then that's when I brought in my childhood friend Louis, who's also from Little Village, to play bass. So the band's like a mix of Pilsen people, Little Village people, Berwyn and Humboldt Park people. So it's pretty cool.
It's a great band. I love it.
Yeah.
Mick's a huge fan too. I said Mick's a huge fan too.
Oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I do the songs and the artwork, everything, the power behind everything that's there. It just blew me away. When Wiley sent it to me, it just straight up blew me away. And then when you dropped the live footage from, was that a coffee shop?
Yeah,
we played for Dark Matters.
Oh God, dude, that was so good.
That's Dark Matter, the coffee I sent you last
Oh, really? Wow, man.
Yeah,
so good coffee.
Unicorn Blood. That's who makes that.
Oh man. It was great.
So Ruben, I know Through and Through and 2 Minute Minor played some shows with y'all. Is Through and Through taking a break during COVID? Because I haven't really heard a lot about Through and Through lately.
I want to say, I could be honest and tell you, I don't know if Through and Through is still a band. And, we decided after March not to do anything, because of what's going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, March of last year. I'm sorry. March of last year, we decided not to do anything. It was just kind of one of those things where we were like, we've been a band at that time for about 6 or 7 years. We've toured a lot. We've played shows a lot, where we kind of were just like, hey, look, we can do other stuff. Like, we can finally do the other things we want to do. Si Dios Quiere was getting a lot, a lot busier with the writing process. And Guido from Through and Through, guitar player, he was getting into this whole like solo music stuff, which he's doing really cool, like gothic music, electronic music like that. Our drummer Izzy, he plays drums in like 2 other bands, and he's singing for Iced Out now.
Oh,
so
rad.
And then Sergio, he's actually been doing really cool stuff on Twitch, like playing video games online.
Uh-huh.
So Sergio's been doing that, and he also plays for like Black Bass, and he also plays in another band called Perpetual Defilement along with Izzy. I think Izzy also plays drums for Carry On Throne, like a death metal band.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us kind of just decided like, all right, we're gonna venture off into different things finally. I think that was a plan at the beginning of the year. And I guess obviously with everything that happened during March of last year, we were all kind of like, all right, now we could take advantage of the situation and actually do things that we've been wanting to do. That's how, I don't know what's there to come for Through and Through. Through and Through is not a band that's into 5-year plans. We're not one to sit down and be like, hey man, like, this is what we should do in this month and that month and this month. You know,
Yeah.
when it happens, it just kind of happens with Through and Through. Same thing with Si Dios Quiere. I mean, all we have planned is to write music, and we'll see what happens from there.
Right. Well, I know Through and Through. I've seen you guys. I've played with you guys, and I've gone to your shows, and your energy is amazing. I know. I don't think Mick, you haven't seen them, right?
No, I haven't. No.
But Ruben as a frontman, I think is one of my favorite frontman. He when 2 Minute Minor plays, he comes up and sings on the Hard Times cover, and he just gets the crowd moving. I'm like, oh, that's what a good frontman looks like.
Are we okay to cover front times anymore? I mean, front times, hard times.
Harley still plays it.
I mean, I don't know what the stuff that the other guy says. Yeah, I'm going there. I don't care.
Ruben's not a John Joseph fan anymore. Which the funny thing is Ruben was a John Joseph fan, and I was more of a Harley fan. And I think Ruben's on Team Harley now.
You know, I guess I am. But it's just the shit he says.
It doesn't really matter.
You know, like the shit he says is so. Can I swear? By the way, I don't know if I can swear.
Yes.
I know we're all Christians here. But the shit John Joseph says, and it's just, I just can't get my head around it, and it's so incel. It's sexist. It's it's homophobic. Like as much as he wants to say no, but in my day, no, it's not your day anymore. Like get out of here with that. Like I appreciate the big influence he was in my life earlier on when I first got into hardcore and Cro-Mags. Like, I pushed myself to do better because of a lot of the things that he has said in the past as well. But that doesn't push out all the dumb shit he's been saying. Sorry if I get this podcast under fire.
We'll give him your email. I'm just kidding. I do want to drop a Through and Through song. So what's your favorite Through and Through song that you have recorded?
Honestly, my favorite Through and Through song would have to be oh my God, Self-Worth. I'm so sorry.
Self-Worth. All right.
Yeah.
Let's drop Through and Through Self-Worth right now. Cool. So, Si Dios Quiere, meaning God willing, is a band that you started, like we said, in 2020. But you guys released a killer 3-track cassette tape titled "A Hell Like No Other," through New Mortality zine, correct?
Yeah.
Talk about that. Like, how did you get hooked up with this zine, and tell us a little bit about him?
Nick Acosta. I'm sorry, for you white people, Acosta. I met this guy, I want to say about maybe 3 to 4 years ago. And, he just seemed like such a genuine person when I met him. Really supportive of the hardcore scene, supportive of helping bands just find a way to get on into bigger things through his zine. And when I saw he was releasing music for a while, I wanted to release some through and through stuff through him, but it was kind of hard because, our guitar player from through and through, he's very, he's just, he doesn't want any label on it. He wants it all to be independent, which is totally fine. And we've all agreed with him on it.
Yeah.
So, but he's featured through and through a few times, like on articles and stuff like that. And, he was able to do that. For me, that was enough of like a pat on the back, like, hey, you guys are doing it, and that was pretty cool. I started talking to him more and more. And eventually when I made Si Dios Quiere, well, not I made Si Dios Quiere, right? When I joined Si Dios Quiere, Louis, our bass player, also has a good friendship with Nick. And from there, we started talking to Nick. Like, I ended up messaging Nick, and Nick was like, hey, funny thing, Louis just messaged me too. So it was like already in our heads to message Nick, and from there, we started talking to Nick, and Nick was very supportive. Like, yeah, we showed him demos of our songs. We send him lyrics, and he liked the message. He was really into it, from one Latino brother to another Latino brother. And it was just a really cool, it was a real cool thing, like, for him to pick us up knowing, like, well, they're new, there was no, especially in the time when there's no shows being played.
But you're known.
I guess I'm known to be a fucking, like, a pain in the ass in the scene.
Yeah, but I don't know about that, but I'm saying, but you guys bring it with this record, and it's had such a big impact in the small amount of time it's been out. Like, you guys put out cassette tapes, you sold out of cassette tapes, did a second run, is that right?
Yeah.
And then you did hats, you sold out of your hats. Like, you guys are pushing it. You're doing good things in the hardcore community.
I'm really excited what Si Dios Quiere is bringing to the table. I think it's genuine. I think it's a very genuine, like, hardcore crossover thrash thing going on right now. And, all of us are big into thrash metal in that band as well. As much as we love hardcore, I think me and Chris could relate a lot when we both like Sepultura. For some reason, both of us have been listening a lot to, like, anything Max Cavalera does. So it's like anything he's done with, like, Cavalera, Conspiracy, Soulfly, Sepultura, Nail Bomb. Me and him have been, like, really into that lately. Because Max Cavalera's just got great riffs. Especially like a guy like him, like, yeah, he's playing metal, but he gives him such a hardcore and punk attitude. So we've been really into stuff like that. I think the other day, Louis and I were talking about Nuclear Assault. So that was, like, pretty cool because, Louis is the one that's more into, like, hardcore, and then he goes from hardcore to indie. But, like, that was real cool. We were talking about Nuclear Assault and stuff like that for a bit, and talking about, like, how cool their riffs are. So, like, we've all come from different backgrounds, but at the same time, we've, like, been able to compromise, like, the type of music we like and the mix of music that we want to throw into what we do.
Yeah, that makes good music when you have different people come together. Okay, dude, let's get into it. I know you want to get into it. Thomas, so you and I kind of chatted off the podcast about the hardcore punk music scene here in Chicago. You even went as far as to make a Facebook post saying, quote, I'm doing a podcast sometime in the middle of April. Oh, you got someone talking. We got someone talking to you through a window.
Hold on, I'm doing the podcast right now. I'll talk to you right now.
It's a sign from God not to get into it.
All right. No.
I'm just using it. All right.
Yeah.
So quote. This is something Ruben threw out there on the interwebs. So I'm doing a podcast sometime in the middle of April with some good friends, but I can't say which one yet. Trust me, I will not hold back, and I will speak my mind.
Why do you make me sound like a death metal guy?
No. So I get a hold of Ruben and I said, am I in trouble? And you're like, no, I just want to talk about the scene politics and gatekeepers and other things that are on my mind. And I said, okay, fair enough. So let's get into it. I know you want to.
Man, I'm about to open a whole can of worms here. So my whole thing is, like, especially like being during this pandemic and like seeing how things are and stuff like that. My whole thing is like, I don't want to, let's say, keep my mouth shut about stuff like abusers, stuff like people who are racist, because a lot of times all these people are saying stuff like, oh yeah, I'm against abusers. Yeah, I'm against racism. But when it comes to their friend, they keep their mouths shut. And that's like one of my things that I've noticed. And I'm one of these people now who I will not keep my mouth shut, even if it's one of my closest friends. Like, no, this is something that shouldn't be happening. The scene talks about being against all these things, but yet you have all these people, you have all these white boys wearing Madball shirts who think they're tough, thinking that they're from areas like the area that I'm from, and they're not. And they're over here excusing their friends from, they're excusing their friends from being a womanizer, from being, from saying racist remarks, behind doors, thinking it's still okay because no one is hearing us, and it's not. These are the same people that keep their mouth shut, when their friends are out there hitting women, raping women, because they have this whole thought of like, oh, he's my friend. You know what? He's not a bad guy. He was just having fun. And that's not okay. Like, that's one thing. Like, the scene needs to stop being so fake about it. Like, and I'm not saying everyone, man, because I know there's also a good handful of people, or even more, who are very, who will speak their minds and will say something, even if it's their own friend. I would like to think the majority of it is like that, right? But even if it's one or two people who like to enable these things, we need to call them out. So that's like one of the main things, like, like how a lot of people, like how I mentioned John Joseph earlier, I'm pretty sure there'd be some promoters or people hitting me up, oh, you can't talk about him like that. And it's like, no, he's saying pretty shitty stuff. Let's call him out on it. I would do the same if it was Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies. Thank God he doesn't say things like that. But if it was him, I'd say the same thing. Like, no, dude, you're wrong. You're saying things that are very bad towards other people, and you're hurting people. And that's how I want to, that's how I want to see it. Like, call me out when I'm saying some dumb shit. That's basically is. The thing is that hardcore still has that boys will be boys attitude, and it's wrong. I don't agree with it. And I'm not just talking about my city. I'm talking about the whole scene in general. It's like when Harley Flanagan, people, same thing with him. As much as I respect what he's done a lot of crappy stuff too. And I'm not going to enable that and be okay with it.
He has. It's true.
It's one of those things where you just can't. The more we enable these things by keeping our mouth shut, then the more they're going to happen. It's like, and we really got to stop looking at people like, oh, do you know who that is? Oh man, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Just let them be. No, it's not something.
Like, they're like the idol status kind of.
Yeah, like that doesn't go with hardcore, and I don't know why that's become such a thing lately. Like it's not okay to be like that. We're all normal people just trying to get along.
Exactly. It's supposed to be a community.
Yeah.
The difference I do see right now in Harley Flanagan and John Joseph just by their online presence, because that's all I know of them, is that Harley seems to be focusing more on the music and not all the bullshit anymore. And then John Joseph seems to just be going off the rails.
Yeah.
And you're the one that brought that to my attention. You're like, have you seen his stuff he's been posting lately? I'm like, not really. So after we had that conversation, I went and looked, and I'm like, oh yeah, this dude, he's saying some sketchy things.
Yeah, and it's not okay. Like, first of all, and here's where I get into it. And this is where I might be calling out certain centrist ideals.
Boom.
But this whole idea of like, oh, out in the 80s, I rioted against cops, but now it's not cool because not all cops are bad. It's like, what? That's the world's biggest contradiction. Those are these centrist ideas I don't care for. Where these motherfuckers are over here saying, yeah, I used to riot and I used to fight against police, and I wrote songs about fuck the police. And then you're like, but not all of them are bad.
You don't think people can change their minds and grow and have...
I don't call that growing.
I know you don't where you're at, but I think people... we're people of habit and nature and experience. And so we learn by experiencing things. So I think when people like yourself experience cops being negative towards your community, that's what you see. But someone who experiences a cop, say, being their, what you said, an uncle, would see it as completely different because they see their uncle. They don't necessarily see the cop. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's the same thing. I got 2 cousins who are cops. I give them shit about it all the time. I tell them ACAB to their faces all the time when I see them.
You still love them though, right?
I love them because they're my cousins, but they better not ever expect me to respect them over a badge and gun.
Sure.
I will slap the taste out of their mouth and forget that they're my cousins. Like it's one of those things where it's like, as much as I love my cousins, they're part of a system that is white. They're part of a system that is racist. And as much as they want to say they're good cops and they're always going to do the right thing, we don't see that. It's not happening.
You don't see that in them or in general?
In general, in them and any other cop, because they are part of that system. They are part of that racist system, that white racist system. And that's how I'm going to stick to it. I'm one of those people. I don't tolerate bullshit. I can't stand people coming up to me. Yeah. Like I've had conversations with like liberals. For some reason, people think I'm a liberal. I'm like, no, I'm just a decent human being who believes in humanity. Like I don't think right or left is really a thing. I guess I lean more towards left, but if you're a decent human being, you're not going to make it political. Black Lives Matter isn't political. It's Black Lives Matter, but people want to make it political,
Well, because everyone wants to make things political because there's money in it.
Yeah, no, and
when people pick a side, they get money, and that's what's wrong with politics.
Yeah, like why is it that we got to make Black Lives Matter political? Why is it that a woman choosing to get rid of? I mean, I don't mean to say it like that, but a woman choosing to have an abortion, why is that political? That's her body. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be political.
Again, there's money in it. Mick knows all about that. We talked about in the last podcast.
Yeah,
and all kinds of money in both sides of that. But unfortunately, there's the people who claim to be pro-life are actually really pro-money. Really pro money.
Unfortunately,
they got all these idiots thinking about pro-life, but they're also the same people who, are okay with having kids in cages at the border.
Right.
So it doesn't make sense.
Or the death penalty even.
Exactly, the death penalty as well. And that's like, it's one of those things that I can't stand about these like right-wing Christians, man. We're like, it's so.
Sorry, I laughed. We just had a whole our last podcast was about this, how out of control right-wing Christians are.
And it's like, I consider myself Catholic because my mom raised me, and my mom to me is like the strongest woman And I mean, to me, like if she, because she's not judgmental towards people who are, part of the LGBTQ community. She's very accepting. The church that I go to, the priest, that I used to go to, especially because I haven't gone to church since this all started. But
which is wise.
he put the rainbow flag outside of the church, and and a lot of other Catholics looked down on him, but he didn't care. So that to me is cool. Things like that.
Ruben,
what's
can
up?
I ask you a question?
What's up?
Now I'm playing the devil's advocate, okay?
Okay.
So just deal with it. You said you were gonna give me some shit, so I'm gonna give you some shit.
Okay.
So you're Catholic. I know you dabble in Krishna also, right? Or at least some of the ideals.
Some of the ideals of Krishna.
Okay, I'm not gonna give you shit about that because I think that's cool. But so what I want to, this might turn around on me, and I'm okay with that.
I'll be prepared.
So you say, now I'm playing the devil's advocate here. So you say all cops are bastards, all cops are bad, right? You don't think there's any good cops. Are all priests bad because priests molest kids?
There's a difference here.
Okay.
That when a priest, I can't really speak for every church. I can't really speak for every
But you're speaking for every police department.
Wow. Here's the thing about why the police department, and the thing is, I also give shit to the church. Like my mom, she'll hear me like question a lot of the things that the Catholic Church has taught me.
Yeah,
as well as a kid,
as everyone should.
Yeah, and and then a lot of times with that, I was very rebellious as a kid, where our old priest would tell us something in Sunday school, and I'd be like, "That's whack," And then he'd call my mom, and they're like, "Your son's being a jerk." Well, what do you teach him? She's like, "Well, that's how he is. He questions things."
Yeah.
And
that's how you learn.
Don't get me wrong. I don't find the church to be better than the police department, because there's so many things that are so corrupted in there as well, especially the Catholic Church.
They have their own police department for the most part.
Yeah, they do.
They have their own law.
Yeah, and the fact that a lot of priests decide to still back up a priest who did something to a child is pretty fucking shitty. And that's the same thing as a cop. For the most part, I will agree with that. In some way, as much as my priest is cool, I should hold him accountable for the way other priests have been, because that's something he should be talking about in his sermon or whatever when he's
right.
preaching.
They just move them around. They don't kick them out.
They just move them around. So I should hold that priest accountable the way I hold all cops accountable for the actions of one or two, because it's true. I'll say it every day, all day. All coppers are bastards. The only good cop is a dead cop. It's true. And, my whole thing is too, same thing with a priest. As much as I believe in God, I don't go to confess because I don't think a priest is that close to God. I have my own relationship with God. That's a whole different thing.
No, that's good. And after shows, you and I talk for at least an hour, it seems like.
Yeah.
And we talk about spirituality and different religions, and you talk about taking from different things. And I always respected that. You were honest and open about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, these are the things that for me are very, it's like you, like I said, if I'm not willing to let people get away with dumb shit in the music scene, then I'm not going to let people anywhere I go get away with dumb shit.
But we all do dumb shit too, right? And we all deserve some sort of grace.
I get that, but I'm talking more along the lines of when you're you're out there, you're out there thinking it's okay. Like, hey, look, I took pictures of this underage girl while she was drunk and sharing it between your friends. Like, no, that's not. Like, I called out my friends for things like that.
That's being a shitty person, not making a mistake.
Yeah. Like seriously, like I can't believe, like, there's so many friends I've called out where they've told me, like, yeah, I slapped my wife once, and it's like, oh well, let me punch you out, dude, because how the fuck do you think that's okay? Like,
Right.
oh
Yeah.
well, she gets on my nerves. Okay, that everybody gets on each other's nerves. I'm
Right.
pretty sure you get on her nerves. Why hasn't she beaten you up? I get that it works both ways as well, but I'm not gonna be one to be on the man's side right away. Like, I'm just not. I am not one person, but as soon as a woman tells me what's going on, I'm going straight ahead, believing her 110%. Like, that's just the way it should be. Because
even if it's someone that you really know and you know that they wouldn't do something like that,
everything's always possible.
it is true.
If I were not to believe somebody because I supposedly know this person a lot, then that's very discrediting to the person that's going through that.
Sure. But I agree with that. Would you go to that person and talk to them before like talking shit about them though?
I mean, I wouldn't talk shit about them. I talk shit to them.
Gotcha.
That's the
why,
difference.
that's wise.
That's the difference. I mean, I've had this a lot of times with like certain friends, and there's some who did after a while they held themselves accountable, but it shouldn't take me, a man, for them to like hold themselves accountable for what they did. They should just do it, because it's wrong.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it.
Mick and I were talking a little bit. I think it was yesterday or the day before.
You talk a lot, Wiley.
It's true. I'm a talker. That's I want Mick to start to talk. That's why I'm getting into this.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm a tiny bit worried for the Ruben conversation because I know we think a little bit differently, and he's a man that speaks his mind. But he was telling me about the whole defund the police thing because I didn't know what I thought about that. I was like, okay, well, if we defund the police, then it's gonna be like the Wild West. Then there's gonna be all this crazy shit that's happening. And Mick's like, no, that's not what it's about. So he kind of actually taught me something the other day, and I kind of want him to get into it if that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I was just gonna say that. Well, before we go there, I'm hearing you talk, Ruben, about like systems. Like we talked about the hardcore scene, and there's this system in the hardcore scene that just seems broken. And then we're talking about cops, and we all know that system is broken. And then we've got tied to that, the justice system, which is broken, and and the church system is broken. And Wiley and I can sit here and we've had stuff happen in our past with bad instances with cops, but never to the extent that those of our our Latino brothers and sisters, our Black brothers and sisters, what they have went through is completely different than what we went through. So to try to compare the two is stupid. It's wrong.
Yeah.
But I see all these systems and they're broken, and I'm like, we got to start recognizing. And I like what you're saying. I don't know if I'd go as far as how you would say it, but basically you're calling people out on their crap, and that's a good thing. I think we need more of that.
It's a way to grow. It's like they say, it's that old saying they say, those who cannot remember their past are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
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 That's very true. America is doomed to repeat its past.
Exactly.
But I do, because I have a lot of friends.
Tell them about the whole tank thing and all that stuff. I think that's interesting.
The whole what?
The tanks in your town.
Oh yeah, like in our town. I live in Parkersburg, West Virginia. It's like, yes, it is like the third largest city in West Virginia, but still, like, we have 2 tanks. Our police department has 2 tanks. Like, why does our police department have to have 2 tanks? We have 2 tanks. We have a SWAT team. Like, our SWAT team is armed to the T. And I understand it's West Virginia. Like, everybody in West Virginia has guns. I have guns, but never to the extent of I ever thought that this would be like a militarized zone. Like, the police armed to the teeth. And so, what I'm hearing from a lot of friends who are involved in Antifa and a few other places, they're like, when they start talking about defund the police, which they use that term and abolish the police because it grabs people's attention and punches them in the face because they're like, what do you mean you're going to do that? And then they start like saying, listen, you don't understand. They've got tanks. Why does your town, who has like a couple thousand people, have a tank? Why are they armed like the military? Like, why are they hiring all these guys that have only been in training for like
I know it's 6 months in West Virginia. Wiley said it's only 5 months in Chicago, which blows my mind. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense to me. And so, like, they're saying these things like to slap you upside the head, but then also like, you don't understand, like, this is what's happening in your city. And this is the reason why these things are going on, because we're hiring people that we don't need to be hiring. We're arming them to the teeth. And then we're telling them, oh, it's okay to put your knee on the back of their neck. Oh, it's okay. We trained them to do that.
Yeah.
And when they get caught, they go, oh no, we never trained anybody to do that. I'm like, yeah. You did.
It's like that whole, the cop that killed George Floyd. I don't want to say his name for many reasons, because I don't think he deserves his name being thrown
I don't
anywhere.
even know his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jail.
You don't have to say it, but did you say it?
Huh?
You're
No.
cutting in and out. Oh, you did? I said I don't even know his name, and I thought you said it, but you didn't.
No, I didn't. So my whole thing with that is the only reason he got all these charges and stuff like that, which I think he deserved more. The fact that they didn't give him first-degree murder is pretty stupid, because this isn't justice. This isn't justice at all. This is just accountability.
Exactly.
And the thing is that with
That's
him,
that's a good way of putting it.
the whole thing with him is that he got all these charges was because the white systematic police force, or whatever you want to call it, and whatever the judges and all that stuff felt they couldn't defend him anymore, and felt he wasn't worth defending anymore. So
Like a sacrificial lamb.
it's like they had their hands tied behind their back, and that's why they did it.
Yeah.
They didn't do it for any other reason. They didn't do it because they care about black people or care about people who are victims to these fucking police.
Yeah,
They
but it's
did it
murder.
because-
He murdered somebody.
Yeah, no. They did it just to save their backs and wash their hands from it. The fact that a lot of people, again, especially in the music scene, are going to forget about this, and they're going to move on with their lives when this stuff should be being brought up. And that's a very sad thing to think about, because you think, well, our music's always talking about these things. And apparently once people see that, like, oh, look, he's getting charged. He's getting all these charges. He's going away for 57 years or whatever. No, no, this guy killed like 4 or 5 other people just because it wasn't caught on camera.
He hasn't been sentenced yet, though, right?
No, I think he was just found guilty under the charges, and then they give him the sentencing
Sentenced later.
Yeah,
But they did arrest him and put him under police custody.
yeah.
Well, it's just like in, about an hour and a half from me in Ohio, where my nephew is going to college. Like they were on the campus, they were celebrating, the verdict. And at the same time, this young 15-year-old girl was shot and killed by the police. And, there's all kinds of different stories.
Yeah. That whole story though, there's different sides to it.
There's different sides to it. And what I sent you was what, was given to me from the college campus. Now that it's come out later, they did release the body cams and everything, but it still looks bad. I mean, the girl had a butter knife.
Yeah.
So it was a butter knife?
Yeah. And they took her out. And
I didn't know that.
Last week there was riots in Columbus, and they flipped over cars, and they basically just let it happen. 2 nights before this incident, they let the Proud Boys walk through Ohio State campus armed to the teeth.
Are you serious?
And did nothing. Yeah, they actually escorted them through the campus. My nephew was there.
God, Proud Boys.
So it's the system's broken.
Wow.
Broken.
It is. It's a very broken and unnecessary thing. I mean, I want to point out, because I do believe that we can live a safe life without police. One, because I feel more in danger when I see blue lights. I definitely feel like I can trust, almost anyone besides a cop. And here's my thing. There's towns in Mexico where cartels go there, or, delinquents go there, and they, they kidnap girls, they sell them to sex trafficking, they rape them, they kill them. cops don't do anything about it, you know, and because they're either scared, they're paid out, or because pigs are pigs. And the thing is that what happened was that a lot of these towns got together and made a militia, and they don't have cops in these towns anymore. They're protecting their town, but they don't want to be called cops or police or anything like that. They're not out there questioning people why they're out late or why they're doing this or that. Like, they're just making sure cartels, cops, and Mexican government doesn't get into their towns anymore. They don't allow Mexican officials or military to get in their towns, and they don't have cops. Cartels are afraid of these people. Like, it's not like these people are just.
What happens if someone murders somebody or steals something? Or
Oh no, I mean they obviously
they have justice.
They have justice for all that stuff too, and it's just not the justice that was there. It was just not the system they had before, where it was very like
Right, I gotcha.
Where
they're not pulling people over for speeding and like checking their IDs every time they walk by, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, and that's like the thing with that. Like, that's why they're doing that. And then there's also Islen, the organization of rebels in the south of Mexico, where these people are the same thing. They're all revolutionaries, and they don't allow cops or any Mexican government or official go into their town. And that's the thing, is that how is it that these towns and this organization is led, there's less crime now. People don't fight each other or try to steal from each other. People don't rape women in these towns. People don't take advantage of children in these towns. So why is it that where there's all these cops going, where all these cops are at, these things are still going on? So that's the question you really have to ask yourself. Why is it that my neighborhood, or these cops, all these cops are around, they're putting more cops here in Little Village. They don't do anything. Instead, I get my ass harassed for walking to the store. Where are you going, punk? Where are you going, spick? These people really call me these things. These people have gone as far as coming to my house randomly without a warrant, looking for support, who God knows who, and my mom being scared when I was younger. And they told her, shut up before we take you back to Mexico. So I don't think cops are necessary. What we need to do is instill values and morals. And I don't mean values and morals like, oh, be a good housewife and you'll get a good husband. No, it's
be a good person.
Be a good
Respect
person.
people.
Exactly. Now that's another thing I really cannot stand, is this whole like women are meant to be in the kitchen. Like, people say it's not a thing anymore, and it's still so alive.
Yeah,
Really?
People still, it is, and it's disgusting. It's one of those things where I'm just kind of like, women are not meant to cater us, man. Like, this whole thing of like, she has to take off my shoes when I get out of work. No, dude, take off your own fucking shoes, man. Like, I've heard about this stuff still going on, and it's like,
that's crazy. I haven't heard of.
Yeah,
it's a big thing.
It's a big thing in the South. I know that.
Yeah,
down where we're
Really?
at. Yeah, it's really big in church. Like in some churches, it's like that.
No,
It's pretty brutal.
See,
it's a
that
big
was one.
thing.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Ruben. Go
I
ahead.
was saying it's a big thing in the Latin community. As much as I love my community, there's still so many flaws as well, and we need to like rise up from that. Like I've been lucky enough, and this might sound really bad, but I've been lucky enough that I've met women who have put me in my place for certain things that I didn't realize I was being an asshole for. And it shouldn't take that for me to realize things, but it happened, and I've gotten fucking put in my place, and as I should. And that's the sad thing about the society, where we don't, we say, oh yeah, we accept women, and but then you see all these shows, going on, and you see a girl you used to talk to backstage, and right away, oh, I wonder who the fuck she's fucking. Like, no, man, can you just think to yourself, like, people think she's cool. She's probably really good friends with someone back there, and she's hanging out with them. But no, people always have to assume, oh, she's fucking somebody. You know, it's ridiculous. And if she was, who the fuck are you to say anything? You know.
Yeah,
Why he's like,
you're living in a different world than I. Like, I don't know anyone who talks like that. Like,
that's because you're a centrist, bro.
no. I surround myself with all different kinds of people. I'm like with different ideals.
I think what it is.
I'm just saying I don't hang out with people who say those things. That's all I'm saying.
I tried to weed those people out, especially recently, where I'm just like, I don't need people like that in my life.
No, you don't.
And that's why, like, lately, like, in a way, like, as much as, you know, this pandemic obviously sucks. It's one of the worst things to ever happen to us. I miss playing shows. But at the same time, you see the reality of how fucking shitty people really are, because they're at home all day and all of a sudden they got the balls to say some shit like, oh, this is all fake. And you know what? I don't know where I saw this, and I had to delete these people off of Facebook. And they are part of the hardcore scene where they're like, we have a whole group of parents. We have a group chat where we don't want our kids learning about homosexuality and being lesbians and bi and transsexuals. They should just worry about being kids. And it's like, all right, I delete these people. I don't need that. You know, like, that's not cool. I understand both sides of that. And that's where my centrist nature comes in, is where, yes, kids should be kids, but kids also need to learn about other things that are above them, above their heads sometimes. Yeah,
like, and outside of their comfort zone.
It builds tolerance. It builds acceptance.
Right.
I don't want, you know, whenever I have kids, I don't want my kid to like come up to me and tell me, oh, this boy in class dresses like a girl and he calls himself this now. That's so weird. It's like, no, I want him to be supportive towards that person, to be like, hey, I will call you by what you want to go by. You know, and that's not hard. That's nothing bad to ask of. You know,
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's respect.
I guess people sexualize the LGBTQ community too much, where people think, oh, as soon as they teach them about gay, they're going to show them two guys on porn. And it's like, no, that's not the point. You know, like that's not the point at all. There's nothing wrong with that either, but I don't think anyone in their right mind is going to show that to kids. You know, like, you know, that's like one of those things.
That's the lie that has been put out there for years about the quote unquote gay agenda. Like, it's been said forever, oh, the gay agenda. I'm like, and then when you actually talk to folks, you're like, oh, the agenda is we want to be treated like human beings. We want to treat it like, you know, like humans. Like, it's insane. And I think the reason why people say things like, I don't want my kid learning about this or whatever, is because they don't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
They don't want to put in the
and they're afraid to have those conversations.
Yeah. But that's life.
That's exactly. That's life.
That's how we grow.
Right.
You know, it's just one of those things where, like, you know, like I said, this is why I'm so like into this whole like I'm going to speak my mind now, because I feel that people know these things and they talk about them just to get points in the scene, just to look good. You know, one of the things I learned on being on tour with Through and Through was, when you're a white male talking about anti-sexism, anti-racism, you know, and, you know, being against homophobics and being against transphobic, I've learned it's only cool when you're a white male. But when you're a brown person, a woman, who's, you know, but if you're something outside of that and you're speaking about these things, people just think you're complaining. People look at you and give you this look like, really? You're talking about this? Like, we know. You know, it's one of the saddest things I ever saw. I saw this a lot playing with different bands, and I just think it was bullshit. I just feel like, what have these, you know, and I hate to say it, but it's like, what have these privileged people gone through? You know, I thank you for pointing these things out. I applaud you. I applaud you for bringing these things out. But why is it that when you say it matters more than when someone like me says it? You know,
Who is it mattering more to?
Well,
I'm just asking you a question. What do you mean it matter? Who is it mattering more to?
To the crowd. You know?
Oh, okay. I got you. So like if a front man's like a white male front man and goes up and says it, you're saying the crowd takes that in more than if like you went up and said that?
Yeah, they take it more than if a brown person like me were to say it. A woman. You know, especially like, you know, there's this whole thing of like where white males or, you know, I think just males in general, you know, I need to point it out where Black, brown, Asian women aren't taken as serious as they're being taken serious. For some reason, the hardcore scene, it's like they pay attention more to a male saying these things. Like, oh yeah, he's cool. But a woman says it, they pretend to care, and then they're kind of like, oh, she's just fucking bitching, you know. And it's sad because obviously the woman is the one going through these things. You know, it's hard for women in the hardcore scene, especially with this, oh, boys are just being boys attitude that still hasn't gone away. So it's like,
I think it will though, right?
I think it will if we all make an effort.
Yeah, and I think once the youth starts getting older, more people are going to be more accepting and more open.
Yeah. And, you know, like I said, I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not pointing out at anybody specifically. But we have to call each other out. Sure. It has to happen. You know, we can't. I don't want to be on this whole, like, rant about, this person sucks and this person, but the majority of a lot of people that go to these shows here in Chicago aren't from the city, don't know what's going on in the city, but they want to claim that this is their city. They don't, but yet they won't put in the work to help out what people are going through in the city. They'll rather go back to Joliet, go home and rest. They'll rather go back to, you know, Aurora, go home and rest. Like, and then the next day I'm like, yeah, I hate cops. And it's like, cool, thank you. I hate cops too. But what are you really doing? You're not out there protesting, you know, like you're not out there, you're out here saying ACAB, ACAB, but I saw, you know, like, what are you actually doing? You know, I just think it's more than appearances. It takes more than it takes more than appearances. It takes more than
real people can see through all that.
Yeah.
If you're not helping.
I don't know about the scene anymore because
no, I'm saying real people see through that.
No, I know. Yeah, and you know, I've been lucky enough that I've been able to weed out the people who get mad when I get frustrated about these things going on. Where they're like, dude, you're just angry, man. You know, I've had other people tell me, oh, you're just an angry Mexican, dude. We get it. And it's like, what?
Jeez.
Like, what? Like, you know,
you should be able to rant to your friends and you should be able to speak your mind.
I've been lucky that both bands I have been very supportive of my ideologies, even if they're not, I don't even want to call them ideologies because it's just really believing in it's really believing in humanity, you know? Mm-hmm. It's very frustrating when people just think that you're just being an angry whatever. When it's like, no, man, these things are going on. Let's pay attention. Let's call each other out. Let's call each other out on our bullshit. You know, that's how you grow. I mean, you know, I'm one of those people, since you met me, I'm sure you've always known I love to speak my mind. That's
why I love you.
I don't ever hold back, but I've been hanging out with this person lately who she will not take shit from anybody. And I love this about her. And I feel the more I've hung out with her, the more like
it's rubbing off on you.
Me.
Yeah.
You know, because there is times where I'll like, oh, you know, that's how I caught myself where I was just like, oh, you know, that's my uncle. That's just how he is. But then I start remembering how she is. And I'm just like, no, that's my uncle. So I'm going to go treat him for being an idiot, you know? Like, that's what you have to do in order to grow.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I feel about those things, you know. I know it's like, it seems like we're going from one thing to another thing, but it's all connected.
I know you've had this I know you, and I know you've had this on your mind since I asked you on the podcast, and I think it's good that you get this stuff out.
Yeah.
Because you talk to your friends and you talk to people around you, and of course you can talk online because that's, you know, offered to us today, but there's people who listen to the podcast who don't know you, and I think it's important that you get to speak your mind. So
yeah,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
I mean, trust me, I've been demonized for speaking my mind by a lot of people.
I think there is a fine line. There is calling people out on bullshit, but then there's also respecting people for believing in different things.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna get mad at someone for believing something different, and call them out on believing something different, I personally don't think that's right, because I think our differences is what make us who we are.
I think when it comes for me to, it's like, it's more so like, let's say an atheist is around and we're mad. I think it's stupid when we're mad at this person as an atheist. You know, yeah, we believe in God. I think when it comes to things like that, it's stupid. But when it's people who are very, you know, when somebody comes up to you with a different belief, such as, oh, I'm okay with Nazism being in metal, or in hardcore, and that's where it's like, what?
Right, that's extreme. You know, like, yeah, I get.
Like,
it's not
like,
good.
Honestly, I don't get the whole hype behind wearing a Burzum shirt and a Mayhem shirt. Like, these bands use Nazi imagery, and people think it's cool to wear these shirts. Like, oh, you know, because black metal is crazy. Most black metal sucks. Let's be honest. Like, I like a few black metal bands. Like, I love Immortal. You know, that's really cheesy because people know I don't like a lot of that Dungeons and Dragons lyrics and stuff like that. Like, I can't stand a lot of that shit. But
don't
I love Immortal.
Don't a lot of black metal bands use like ancient ruins and all these symbols that like were around so many years ago, and then white power movements come and steal these kind of.
It's kind of like with Norse mythology,
right? So it's like it's kind of weird that they can't come up with. I'm not saying they should come up with it; they should just not exist, Nazis, and all these hate groups, but they're just stealing these old symbols that mean different things. So these bands putting on their shirts might not necessarily mean that they're trying to support Nazism.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but be smart, you know?
Yeah, well, my wife she likes black metal, and she wanted to buy this shirt, and it had like the rune that almost looks like a peace sign, but like it's like upside down. And I was like, do not buy that, because like white power people have taken that and made it into a white power symbol. Just be smart, you know?
Yeah, like be smart, but also do not tell your woman what to do.
Well, I don't want her walking around with white power symbols.
No, I totally understand that. You know, it's just one of those things, man. We got to be smarter than that. We can't allow these things to be in hardcore, punk, or in metal. You know, these are the genres that are supposed to stand up against all this stuff. And now you're telling me that we're enabling it by keeping our mouths shut. I'm not one to keep my mouth shut. You know, I'm not one to keep anything that I believe in inside, because I will go out there with a spray can, and if I have to, I will write down everything I believe in everybody's face.
Sure. One thing that I will say that really bugs me is I don't understand how right wing, like these crazy radical right wing people, are upset about punk rock. Like they get upset about lyrics in punk rock, and they're like, well, I used to like that band, but then they got too political. Like Descendants is one thing. Like there's all these people on their freaking page. Descendants call out Trump all the time, and they can't stand Trump. And you have people like, stop talking about politics. I liked you better when you sang about other things. And it's like, they've always
What are
been
you talking
political.
about?
They've always been political. Like, it's like people get older and did get older and they became right wing, and then they forget that the bands that they loved growing up spoke out against these things.
Yeah.
And then and then they get mad at them that they forgot and that they're still speaking out against these things. And it's just it's mind blowing to see some of these conversations.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like I think I saw an article, I think, was it this past summer 2020, when people were like, oh, I'm not listening to Rage Against the Machine anymore because they're all suddenly political. And it was just like,
Nick and I had this conversation. Like, they've always been political.
Right.
like, what are you talking about? You know, like they've always been a political band. What are you talking about? Like, have you not read their fucking lyrics? Like, are you that slow? You know, it's like this, dude. And it's funny because I'm part of this suicidal tendencies. Obviously, I'm part of this suicidal tendencies forum and Facebook. And there's been like a few people where they like try to be like, yeah, ST for life and Trump for life. And then you have all these other suicidal tendencies fans jumping on them like, fuck you, suicidal tendencies doesn't like, you know, because Mike Muir has had a lot of lyrics where he's never been, you know, he's like, I don't necessarily call my music political, but politics don't like me for what I believe in. And I think that that's something that's like very important to see. It's like something very sorry.
Got another conversation going on back there.
No attendance, because I'm in the yard and stuff like that. So like attendants are walking in.
No problem. That's all good.
Stuff like that. And you know, the whole thing is like with suicidal tendencies, like all these people are like, they're not a political band. You're right, they're not a political band, but they're influenced by the corruption of politics that has happened in their neighborhood. Right. You know, like, and that's one of the things, like, and then there is interviews where Mike Muir is like, I don't like Trump. Everything he believes in is wrong. You know, and then these people are gonna like try to like, I don't know what their lame Photoshop skills, try to put Donald Trump with like a bandana, and all these people are like, well, first of all, Donald Trump hates Mexicans, and you're putting Mexican culture on the fucking idiot. You know, like,
I think the main problem is we gave that asshole way too much power.
Yeah, I think we did.
I think we still are. We're talking about them.
I mean, yeah, you know, obviously, but we got to point out, like I said before, those who do not talk about their past, those who not remember their past, are doomed to repeat it.
Uh-oh, that's an hour.
Oh,
we hit an hour. So what that means is I got one more question for you, then we'll wrap it up. So what is next for Si Dios Quiere? Are we going to see an EP? Are we going to see a full length? Can you talk about anything? Come on, give us something. What do you got next?
Well, here's one of the things. I hate 5-year plans.
Well, give me.
I mean, here's the thing.
Till October. What's the October
Si Dios Quiere is definitely writing right now. We got a few songs that are down, and if the songs are complete by, let's say, in the next 2 months, then we will start talking about recording. We'll start talking about everything else that comes after that. Maybe live streams, because I still don't think it's safe to play shows. That's another thing I want to point out. Bands that are playing shows right now, stop it. You know, what is wrong with you? Any band, I don't care if they're bands that my friends are in, stop playing shows. Stop ruining
it. Band, and we said we're not even going to consider it till next year.
Exactly. No, same thing for us. We're not playing any shows. Any shows so it's safe. It's plain and simple. But yeah, that's the thing I can tell you about Si Dios Quiere, is that we don't necessarily know exactly what's going to happen, but we are definitely in the writing process. We're definitely putting our heads together. You saw we changed our logo to that one you're wearing. We're big into making sure that everything we believe in is out poured out into our music. You know, again, we're not a political band. We're not in any way endorsing any type of political agenda, but we believe in humanity. You know, and I think that's a very important thing, and that message will be in anything we do. So, you know, people want to tell us, you know, how to be and how to act, and it's like, nah, man, we're not gonna take that. We're gonna be us. Si Dios quiere is a whole different ball game. We don't take shit from nobody.
What's your favorite Si Dios Quiere song?
Urban Guerrilla.
Let's play it right now. Drop it. Boom.
Someone's getting ya. That's something you can't take. You come into our hood. A prank you cannot break. The fact's been brought to us. We can't stand for this. You colonize our existence in nuestras costumbres. You're trying to fit in. You couldn't be more wrong. Walk a day in our shoes. You can never belong. Take back the hoods. Take back the streets. The hood cannot be bought. Take back the streets. We won't accept defeat. You're trying to fit in. You couldn't be more wrong. Walk a day in our shoes. You can never belong. Take back the hoods. Someone's getting ya. That's something you can't take. You come into our hood. A prank you can't mistake. Someone's getting ya. That's something you can't take. You come into our hood. A prank you can't
All right.
break.
We got Ruben on the podcast. We just played his favorite track. And Ruben, thanks for being with us. We love you,
Yeah.
brother. We're excited
man.
for new music.
Love you
And
too.
thanks for speaking your mind. And I like this like shot you got of your face going right now.
Oh no, it's because I'm scratching my stomach, and I don't want you to see it.
Oh.
I'm like, oh,
Awesome.
I feel like we didn't let Mick talk at all.
I was listening a whole lot, man. I if I can say this, dude, I really like when Wiley always talks you up, and so I was really excited to have this conversation, but I wanted to listen a whole lot because I wanted to hear what you had to say. But man, when I watched that live stream, I was like, dude, that guy's awesome. I just want to hear what he has to say, and then hearing you tonight, man, you just have an awesome heart. Like,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
you do. Like I know you're calling stuff out, but at the same time, there's just so much hope in what you were saying. Like I can tell. I don't know. I just like hearing people's perspectives and hearing where they're coming from, and I just want to learn from it. So that's why sometimes I just want to. When I hear I hear your heart. I just want to listen and learn from it. So
Thank
that's
you.
Why, that's why I didn't say. That's why I didn't say.
I really appreciate that. You know, it's like you guys listen to everything I had to say. I hope I didn't offend anyone. Actually, if I offended you, then you're the problem. But I'm pretty sure that's not the case at all.
No, sir. No, sir.
You
with
know,
us too? I think it's funny. I think on a lot of points we think very similar. Mick and I are very I call myself a centrist, but what does that really mean? That just means I like to listen to people's point of views and take what I learned from it and chew it up and swallow it.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore socialist, bro. I'm a socialist all the way. So It's I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't really call myself anything, but I feel like if you're gonna believe in humanity, socialism is the way to go. But at the same time, even that I have a problem with. You know, I call out a lot of people who say they're into socialism, and it's just like, but dude, you're into like bragging about your new like car and stuff like that, and you're over here like putting out how you're making fun of poor people for having less like shoes that are less expensive than yours. How are you a socialist? You know, like I mean, I love expensive shoes. I love Jordans. Don't get me wrong. I have a thing
you're a
for
shoe
buying,
collector.
I have a thing for buying. I have a thing for buying Jordans and stuff like that. But I'll never go up to someone next to me and be like, "Yeah, look at your shoes. They suck compared to mine." Like, nah, man, that's ridiculous. What are you do? What does that say about your person? You know?
Right.
But yeah, that's my whole thing with that. You know, but at the same time, I'll give up those shoes anytime if that means that people could live better lives.
Well, I shouldn't get into that.
You should.
As you say, people can live better lives not supporting Nike because they're one of the biggest sweatshops that
I know. And thank you
pretty
for
much
calling me out.
enslaves people.
No, I know it's a horrible thing. It really sucks because like growing up in this neighborhood, you would know why those shoes mean a lot to people, why they mean a lot to people who get them here. My parents were cheap when I grew up. You know, seeing those shoes, I was like, oh my God. And when I was able to work and make my own money and buy myself the most expensive shoes, I did it, you know? You know, my parents used to lie to me like, oh, hey, don't worry, wear the Batman shoes. You actually run faster in the Batman shoes. Fucking liars. You know,
that's
the palest Batman shoes. Well, like I said, I appreciate my mom for everything she's done for me. She is literally one of the biggest influences of my life. I think that a lot of the stuff, you know, I wasn't able to catcall growing up because my mom, that was a big no-no.
good.
You know, that's a big thing that you know, I've heard stories of how other women have been like, oh, you know, not other women, but people are always like, oh, take it as a compliment. You know, not just women, but there's been other people, and it's like, no, that's a way for people to show that they can empower somebody that they think is less than them. You know, and thank God
it's ignorant.
Yeah, it's ignorant. Thank God my mom, like, you know, she knew this is a messed up world, so I'm gonna make sure you're at least decent. And you know, obviously we couldn't show any type of hate towards anybody that was different. And I thank my mom so much for that. You know, I think everybody knows I'm such a big mama's boy. Like,
Nothing wrong with that.
You know, I'm just like, these are the things that we need. You know, these, you know, good examples. Again, I don't mean stuff like, oh, go to church and pray and come home and clean to your wife. I mean, make your wife clean and your wife has to do this. It has to be just believing in what's right. And I think those good values and morals will go far.
Yeah. The thing I want to say about Mick usually does all the editing. He does all the heavy lifting of this podcast, and I usually find the guests, and then I write an outline. But Mick can attest to this. I even called him last week and said, "Hey, man, I've got all these questions. Do you want me to write some questions for you? Do you want to write some questions? Like, do you want to talk more?" And Mick's like, "No, I like the outline. I like how it goes." I'm like, "Okay." If you like it, that's cool.
Oh man,
I think Mick should talk more too. Hashtag make Mick talk.
Make Mick talk. For real, man. I feel like you missed out the whole conversation. He just listened to us go at it.
He's a good listener.
Well, yeah. Like I said, we just need to push ourselves to be better. I'm not saying be better than the next person, but be better than ourselves yesterday.
Yeah, that's
you know.
I like that. That. Cool. Well, thanks for being on, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
So
love you, brother.
Wiley. How many bands do you have, Wiley?
Too many.
27.
27.
All right, guys. Nick's in one of them now.
I am, and he drug me in one.
Nice.
I made him join.
I did maybe you can't see it. It's over here it's on this side. I maybe bust out my base. I haven't had that thing
Yeah,
out
I
for
see
probably a year.
Oh yeah, you're
been-
practicing.
Yeah, I've been running through the lines, man. So
Nice.
Hey,
Good
man.
to hear.
I'm old.
He's a badass bass player though.
Ages,
Zayo OG.
man.
All right,
Ages.
brother.
All right, dude. Take care.
All right.
It's good talking to you guys.
Good talking to you.
Same. Good to see your face for real.
For sure. Even though it's getting dark now.
Yeah.
All right.
All
All right, guys. Take
Later, man.
care. Bye.
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 Fresh pots!
All right. It is that time of the podcast where we review coffee, good coffee. And this episode, we have a special guest. We have my wife, Lindsay.
Yo.
Welcome.
Hanging with us, and she's going to review some coffee for us today. So
Thanks
how
for
about
being
that?
on the thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
That's right.
So you want to jump right in and tell them what it was that you got? And
Well, for
You
the
just go for it.
listeners, this is Prancy Nancy's savior.
Yes, I'm trying. I keep
Bring
trying.
in Prancy Nancy.
Bring in Prancy Nancy. She's a mom now. My girl's grown up.
That makes you a grandma.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Mammal.
Mamo.
A mama cat mama.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Okay. So do I just talk about it?
Just go for it. That's how
Yeah.
we go.
Okay. So I'm going to review Silverbridge Coffee Company. We grabbed this in Point Pleasant, West Virginia when we went to the Mothman Museum for our son's 6th birthday. He's obsessed with the Mothman. Yeah, Mothman.
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 I saw all
Yeah.
those pictures online, by the way.
Oh my gosh,
That
he
looked
was
like a fun time.
he was in heaven. Like, it was insane. He totally ate up the secret agent top secret mission thing we did.
Nice.
He was all over it.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got the Mothman blend. It was a dark roast, rich and intense.
Yes.
And it was.
So you both had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We both drink it.
Yeah,
It's
we
good.
both drank it. And
Are
We
you
could-
drinking it right now?
no, unfortunately, we drank it super fast. So that was
Oh.
at the end of March.
Mm-hmm.
And we just drank it, like, I don't know, within a few days.
Yeah, it was really good.
Just
So-
like the unicorn blood, you guys smashed it.
I know.
Gosh, yeah.
So that means it's good coffee at least.
It was really, really good. And I like it when you can actually smell the coffee, like through the bag, and you could smell this so
Yeah.
good. I just, like, I picked it up and sniffed it, and I was like, okay, this is ours now.
And that's got to be a treat too, because your son's like into Mothman. You go to
Yes.
this Mothman museum, right? And
Uh-huh.
they have coffee there, so you're like, oh, let's go check this out. And
Yeah.
I'm guessing you wander over there and you smell it. And you're like, whoa, this actually might be good.
Yeah. And the time before, we got a Mothman coffee mug. So it was natural. The natural progression
Yes.
was to
Yeah.
get coffee this time.
So let us know what you thought of it.
I thought it was really good. It was really strong, but it wasn't like a jittery type strong, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was neat because it's a blend of 2 African coffees, like 2 different. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not like a really big coffee person, like to know things about it, but I thought that was kind of impressive. So yeah.
It was so good that the other night she was doing research because they make more than just the Mothman blend.
Oh yeah.
They have a bunch
They've
of
got
stuff.
tons of stuff.
And it's from the town across the river from Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It's on the
They're
Ohio
in,
side.
yeah, they're in Gallipolis, Ohio.
Yeah, which is on the other side of the Silver Bridge that fell when, back in was it the 50s?
That, hold on, I have it. Where did I write it at? It collapsed on December 15th, 1967.
Oh, 60s.
60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what correlates it with Mothman? Like what makes it the Mothman coffee?
Well, The Mothman was first sighted, and I knew all this because my friends and I were obsessed with Mothman in high school. Like, so my son being into this is totally like nostalgic for me. The Mothman was first sighted November 15th, 1966. And some people say that he terrorized the citizens of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Some say he was trying to warn them that there was something wrong with the bridge.
Well,
The silver.
wait, so the bridge collapsed a year before, though. He was.
No, it collapsed in
Oh.
67.
Yeah, 66 was the first time
Oh.
they saw
Yeah,
him.
66 is when Mothman was first seen, and it collapsed in 67.
Okay, I gotcha.
So some
got
people
those
say,
backwards.
yeah, some people say Mothman was a friend. Some people say he was the enemy.
Well, so this bridge collapsing, was this like a huge bridge? Was it a bridge that was used often? Or
Yeah.
give me some backstory on this.
Well, I don't really know a lot about the bridge other than it was built in 1928.
Was
The
this
bri-
like
the
go ahead.
bridge crossed the Ohio River, so it's a pretty the Ohio River is
okay.
pretty huge. So it was a big bridge. It was a huge deal, and the crazy thing is her mom,
Gotcha.
I think like a month before or even weeks before was crossing the bridge into Ohio and
Mhm.
back, and then like a month later, it
Oh,
fell.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like a huge deal in West Virginia, Ohio, in that area. It was a huge thing for that bridge to
46
collapse.
people died.
Yeah, 46 people. Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It was a big
was it.
deal.
That was a huge bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had like a Beetlejuice bridge in my head. like the one that collapsed on Beetlejuice.
Well, the crazy thing is that bridge on either side of the bridge there's a stoplight, and so that the lights turned red, and so there's a bunch of cars on that bridge, and so then it while they were all on the bridge it collapsed. So
That is
that's why there were
scary.
so many. Yeah. And the crazy thing is the bridge that used to be in Parkersburg where we live, there's a bridge over to Belpre, the old one where it was the steel grate one where you can kind of drive over it and look through and see the river. It's kind of like the same model. So, and that one, I was still a kid when it was still in use in Parkersburg. So, so that was the type of bridge it was in Ripley.
Yeah, I
or
forget what it was
Point
called,
Pleasant,
like a
sorry.
2 chain or something.
Yeah.
I saw it when I looked it up because I
Wait,
couldn't
I
remember
like
what year.
I like how this became bridge talk on Coffee
Yes.
and Hardcore.
It's the Mothman episode.
It's the Mothman.
Oh my
episode.
gosh, that would be amazing.
Pom, pom, pom. What is your favorite kind of coffee? Or not kind, brand? Like, what is your favorite go-to coffee that you do you drink a certain coffee every day, or do you switch it up all the time?
We drink like just normal people coffee for the most part, but I
Like
don't
Folgers or something?
no, listen. Our like everyday coffee, you're
Don't
gonna
say it.
die.
Don't say it.
You're gonna die. It is the Kroger.
Hmm.
Is it the Sunrise?
No, it's the breakfast blend.
Is it the breakfast?
Mhm.
Okay, it's some breakfast blend, but I just don't like. We drink so much coffee. I can't spend $15 because that's gonna last us what 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
I can't just spend $30 on coffee every month. So we just kind of like buy the basic stuff and then pick a couple to try out because there's a lot of flavored. I know you don't like flavor coffee, but this Silver Bridge, they have a ton of flavor coffee that I want to get.
Yeah, for
Yes.
listeners, no, don't send me flavored
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, don't
Don't-
send
I
Wiley.
repeat.
Do not send. You send him flavor coffee, he sends it back.
Yeah.
No, and the crazy thing is that the Silverbridge stuff kind of had us go, well, I wonder what other places around West Virginia that roast their own coffee. So we kind of found like 5 or 6 other places that I think we're gonna try.
Yeah,
and
we're
then-
gonna order. Like I want to get. Is it Coal River?
Mhm.
Coal River Roasters. I want to get some from there. We got a couple because
That'd be
I want to
cool.
get. Yeah, I want to get some from West Virginia.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool if you guys got all 5 at some point and tried them and took notes and like came on the show and talked about them.
We're gonna do it.
We're gonna happen.
Explosion melt your face.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, thanks
right,
for
well,
being on the podcast. That was
thanks.
short lived, but it was good to see your face and hear your voice.
Well, thank you. This was fun.
Cool,
yeah.
cool.
All right. See ya.
Bye. All right. We are at the end of this podcast, the outro, if you will. That was season 2, episode 5. Booyah. Don't go there. Coffee and hardcore is all that and a bag of chips.
And we hope you enjoy this episode. Don't forget to like the podcast and check it out on Facebook and Instagram. Also, follow us on Spotify. Go on Apple Music and do the thing that Wiley doesn't like, and that is leave a review. Leave a positive review. That just helps us get out there in front of more folks. And all these podcasts. They're called catchers, I guess is what they're called.
What does that mean?
It means you catch the pod, like we are casting the pod and somebody catches it. And so Spotify, Apple, those are catchers, whatever. But they're all updating all their systems right now to try to get, the whole, what is it? The algorithm.
Yeah.
Changing everything. Yep. The algorithm. Thank you. I
knew one thing.
Yeah. but when you follow us and you like us and you leave a review, it helps us stay out there in front of folks, which, by the way,
don't do it.
Our last episode, the one with Vanguard, is slowly becoming our most listened to episode.
Ooh.
Yeah. So check that out.
That's good news, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Really good news.
Next episode, the plan as of now is to chat with Nate and Eddie from Skullcrack. We plan to pick their brains about the new album coming out and the coffee and hardcore theme song that they wrote for us.
Yeah. And so make sure in this episode you check out all the show notes so you can get all the links to the bands and to the coffee and all that good stuff. So yeah, tons of links in all our podcasts. So check out the show notes.
Yeah. Again, as Mick said earlier, don't forget to follow us on Spotify and Apple Music. Follow us and give us a share if you would, please. But let's outro this. Let's drop Cry Cry Blood by Steel Pulse for all the people of color, all of our family of all different colors. It is a very powerful song, and we all need to start seeing each other as family, no matter our race, religion, or culture. So Mick, drop Cry Cry Blood now to end this podcast.
Boom.
Till next time.
See ya.
When we gonna wake up? Who the hell do they think I am? Give me food from the pot bottom. Give me scrap from them table. I'm on a desperate or disabled. In this land we live with dog eat dog. I said the whole of them are gone like hog. A simple thing to make me jump and back. I grab a licious like a harbor shack. Cry blood, I've got to cry blood. Cry blood, I've got to cry blood. For my people, yeah. Cry blood, I've got to cry blood. Got to cry blood. Cry blood, I've got to cry blood. Hey, there's just one thing I don't overstand. What make we laugh and kill with one black man? Me say me share me happy run and hide. I call it self-inflicted genocide. We step aside and have to weep and moan. The pressure building up inside my bones. So I'm and back against the wall. I hold my head and fall. Cry blood, I got to cry blood. I cry blood, I got to cry blood. For my people, yeah, cry blood. I got to cry blood. Got to cry blood. Cry blood. I got to cry blood. For my people, yeah. My people. For my people, yeah. My people. For my people, yeah. Naya bingy boba shanty eye. In a dispute that says I don't know why. Be careful of the flag now. I put the lion on its back now. The plan is to divide and rule. In the end, we the people lose. Some try to put things right. But no, I won't give up the fight. Cry blood, I got to cry blood. Cry blood, I got to cry blood for my people, yeah. Cry blood, I got to cry blood. Got to cry blood. Cry blood, I got to cry blood for my people, yeah. My people, for my people, yeah. My people, for my people, yeah. When we gonna wake up? Yes, we need a shake up.